Chowdhury ICT Back Office and member CIRT Bangladesh Bank to take his session on enhancing compliance and regulatory frameworks in Bangladesh banking sector, challenges and mitigation.
So the topic, it seems very dry, and I have to complete in a very short period. There's a lot of discussion may happen because it's a vast area. Therefore, since I have to make it very briefly, then I tried my best to actually make it visualize, presentable to you. That's the nature of this dry course. This is my profile. Actually, I'm a cybersecurity practitioner. I'm also the member of Bangladesh Bank CIRT. I work for the Risk Management Subcommittee, Security ICT Guideline that is formulated in 2023 last year. I work as a member secretary for that committee, and also the Cloud Guideline formulated by Bangladesh Bank, and also working for the Cyber Security Framework, and I was also member secretary for Bangladesh Bank IT Security Policy. Besides, I have little bit experience on research, especially I work for the cloud computing, especially cloud security, focused on the cloud security during my lab in University of Malaya, Malaysia, while I was studying the research masters. I have few publications. My topic is today is ICT guideline formulated by Bangladesh Bank, the compliance, challenges and mitigation, and finally the prospects. I tried to highlight some of the important things prospect, though it is directly not correlated with the regulation and compliance. You will see in the next slide. So here are the major ICT guidelines formulated by Bangladesh Bank last year. The guideline on ICT security version 4 2023. What I mentioned that actually I work for the member secretary of that particular committee. It's a 2-year-long job. We made some significant changes compared to the guideline of 2015. In the next slide, I'll elaborate this. And another important thing, actually we made the guideline on cloud computing, version 1. This is the first time we introduced cloud computing guideline because there was an essence from the banking sectors. Various banks actually applied to us to they are adopting cloud just because of the trade of OPEX for the CAPEX, so or CAPEX for the OPEX. So there's a feasibility and the paradigm shift. So we have to adopt it. Therefore, it was really an essence to formulate the cloud guideline, and we did it. There are a lot of things. Still, it's a very discussion point about some clauses, about some geo-location, like the data residency. So it's a matter of, I think, some sort of very hot topic in the banking sectors. What should be the data residency? What about the public cloud? So I'd like if you ask question regarding this in the later on my presentation at the end. If anything, then I will gladly explain. If any confusion arises regarding the data residency, the data localization, and other things. And also we are working on the cyber security framework. It is work in progress. It is in the draft stage, not fully finalized yet. Hopefully this year we will formulate it and make it available for the banking sector. This cyber security framework is based on the NST model, as my colleague mentioned in their previous lecture. It's NST: identity, protect, detect, respond, and recovery. These are the 5 pillars of NST, you know. And the cyber security framework are based on this pillar. Now, the key aspects of the ICT security guideline we actually brought compared to the guideline of 2015 IT security, and some of them you know that since you all belong to, some of them are belong to the banking industry, they know that actually the core risk inspection we conduct based on the guideline. There are other guidelines like the cloud guideline, as I mentioned, and also the core banking solution, but I'd like to highlight this, the key aspects are that we incorporated we emphasized on the cyber security, because in 2015 version there was not an exclusive chapter regarding the cyber security. So the cyber security is really an important factor. It's a growing concern about. That's why actually we emphasized on cyber security. Then another thing is the data classification, which was absent in the previous version. The data classification is very important because you know that you can significantly reduce the attack surface once you can classify the data. It is not in our culture earlier because we actually consider all the data are important, and if we make it judgment subjectively, then everybody says that my data is important. That's the problem. Once you sort out what should be your critical application, once we sort out the critical application, then everybody says that this system is critical. Then you have to incorporate all the critical data to the disaster recovery, and you find out that out of 100% data, 90% data are critical. Is it actually practical? I don't think so. That's why actually data classification is very important, and the awareness of data classification is very important. Even for the cloud computing guideline, we also introduce data classification, because you cannot go for the public cloud or the community cloud before classifying the data. It's important which data should go for the cloud, which you can leverage using the public cloud to keep your data outside the border, and which you cannot. Then another interesting thing is about the supply chain risk management. It's very, that those are actually working for the risk assessment process, the identifying risk, tolerance, from the tolerance to risk treatment. In every process, supply chain risk management is very important, and most of the developed countries use this supply chain risk management. So we introduce a control regarding the supply chain risk management. And the digital payment security, because there was a paradigm shift in the digital payment system in the financial sectors. Like many fintech company goes, and we now giving license to digital bank as well. So digital payment security, here we also incorporate the SWIFT system, SWIFT CSP compliance and other issues, and also the latest wallet payment systems we use for this. And we emphasized on the training, because we, that the people, process and technology are the three important things for the cyber security. So there is nothing alternative to the training program, the capacity development building. And we emphasized on the training, even for the training of trainers. And work from home management, due to the COVID issue, that was reactive for us, because we didn't think that we have to work from home earlier. And the whole technology is focused on that time, that's why, because how technology can facilitate, and it's a model, because many organizations in the world, actually they are using the hybrid model. I've seen in the Federal Reserve of New York, when I visited there in 2022, once they faced the COVID situation, they actually adopted this model. Even there is a less impact on COVID, because they used, and I then questioned them that which security measure you incorporated. So their experts, they just responded that the first and foremost important thing is to ensure the VPN, the facility from the home. So it takes some time and consumes some cost, but still it's very effective, despite they are having multiple sites for the data recovery and others issue, but they use the hybrid model. So work from home management, they are starting a segment of this IT security guidelines we emphasized on. And the business resiliency, earlier its name was the BCP, business continuity planning, but in a more vast term, we use we incorporate the certain clauses on this, the business resiliency. And last but not the least is the emerging technology mentioned in the chapter 14 of this very guidelines. The emerging technologies incorporated the cloud computing, the advent of artificial intelligence, it's a buzzword, and many of the organizations are in Bangladesh, even in Bangladesh, are using AI. And we introduced the social media banking, the controls, certain controls, and controls regarding the artificial intelligence, blockchain, etc. Now, what are the challenges, especially for the complex challenges? Based on my experience, I have experience conducting inspection from my bank to many other financial sector, like banks and others, non-banking financial institutions. And based on my experience, I have seen that these are the challenges. That's actually what I highlighted here. First is the ICT or CISO. They say that the budget is their constraint from the top manager perspective, because you know that the security products are, wherever you put controls as a better resilience of your organization, their main constraints are budgetary, because you have to make an extra expenditure on that particular, and security products are not cheap. It is very expensive, like from the next generation firewall, the zero trust, or the micro segmentation, whatever you do, the purchasing, the SOC, security, including the SIM. So whatever there is, the budget is a key issue. So that's the main, because CTO and CISO, the C-level executives have to convince the board to the budget issues and the benefit of that. And sometimes it is difficult to present the data, quantify the things, because it's sometimes it's actually a subjective issues, security, the intensity of the security. Another is a very common phenomenon in Bangladesh, is about the manpower shortage. I think that every organization say the common words, there's a manpower shortage for this, especially to actually maintain the compliance of the controls. And skill resources, there are resource gap as well. And those actually, they are brain drain, those are skilled, they got better opportunity, and they usually switch to another organization, even the abroad. So that's why there's some scarcity of the skill resources. So these are one of the key challenges. This is skill resources. And another is, I found based on my experiences, about the lack of due diligence. You know that the due diligence and due care, these are the legal terms, but it's a very common term for the cybersecurity practitioner, because the lack of due diligence, quite often we mislead the information and report, and we quite often forget the task assigned by us and the responsibility factors. That's what actually problem. So if the lack of due diligence actually is quite actually imposed some of the non-compliance issues. For the mitigation, it's overall actually the very bird's eye view on this. There are a lot of things you can break down for it, like to ensure the governance, because the top-down approach is the best practice to ensure the compliance, regulatory compliance. That's why they emphasize governance. The governance is very important. We introduced in the chapter 2 of our ICT security guideline. Even in the cloud guideline, we introduced the governance perspective, and the responsibility we designated for every C-level official along with the board of directors. What should be the responsibility? There should be a high-level IT steering committee and ICT risk management committee to ensure the compliance. And also, as I mentioned, there is nothing better alternative than training. So training is very important to ensure the compliance, the planning. Quite often, especially for the IT people, we often act rather than think, just because the overwhelming task assigned by us, the lack of manpower, the scarcity of people. That's why actually quite often it's a burden for an employee, and quite often the managers are pushing the employee so that they can give very little time. But without planning, or if you have a little plan, then the mistakes will occur. আমরা বাংলা একটা কথা বলি, বিসমিল্লাহ বলো, যেটা আমরা বলি যে খুব ইয়েতে, যে একটা প্ল্যানিং যদি ঠিকমতো না হয়, দেন হচ্ছে ফার্দার অনেকগুলো প্রবলেম অ্যারাইজ করে। সো প্ল্যানিং ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট and actually there's a common issues that the manager don't want to invest time on that particular things. That is the factor that planning is very important for effective mitigation. And the risk-aware culture, because security is the responsibility of everyone. It is not the responsibility of the CISO and also some security practitioners. And developing the risk-aware culture is very crucial to better resilience for the organization, to ensure the compliance of the organization. Now I'd like to highlight the prospects of the IT industry in Bangladesh. These are a little bit different thing. And an interesting topic is that in 2007 I purchased a book regarding the national savings on digital economies. It is actually a research book. The author of this book is the Born Lomborg. He is a Danish citizen, from Denmark. The source of this, the book name is the Bangladesh Priorities, ranking the smartest solution, the benefits and cost. So here's the strategy, and it reveals that especially if we adopt a EGP across government system, then it will, if we spend 1 taka, then it will return 663 taka. It will save 663 for. So EGP across government is very crucial. So these are the priority projects that government should consider these projects to save a significant and to optimize the budget and save the income for the people. Then again, the more services at union digital centers, if we actually broaden the technology and actually especially in the rural level, suburban level, expand the technology, then it, for every 1 taka spending, it will return taka 8. And for the broadband expanding, for every 1 taka investment, it will give 5 taka. So these are the important things as priority projects. Also an opportunity for the country perspective, like 45.9 million people are younger. Their age range is from 15 to 29. The 4 crores and 59 lakhs international, according to the census report by the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics in 2022. So we have a lot of younger people and we have a very effective resources, so that if we invest these resources to the ICT, information technology and security, then we will get better output. If we see the trends, that the rising number of IT graduates, trends of achieving professionals. So if we now concern about the brain drains, we don't need to worry about. If we actually give them the proper training, awareness, and we work for the capacity development, then we can train, because there's a rising number of IT graduates across the Bangladesh, trends of achieving professional certificates. Because if even 2 or 3 years before, what we saw that there are very few CISA certified, CSSP certified, but nowadays there are more than 300 CISA certified in Bangladesh, more than 50 CSSP certified and other security certified. So there are growing number of professional certified people. They are working in various organizations, especially in the banking and financial sector and the government sector. The potential hub of the global ICT service, the freelancer, this is the golden goose. That's our state minister quoted, is there 650,000 freelancers in the country at present. Their total annual income is about USD 1 billion or taka 1.06 billion at the rate of taka 106. That was the report in 2023. So we can use this as well. And the e-commerce sector. Currently, the number of IT professionals working in Bangladesh is about 0.22 million, and it is estimated that the demand for the required human resources would be doubled, almost twofold, by 2025. The majority of the current workforce excels in pure technical tasks such as programming and networking, based on the research of the Asian Regional Education Center. So now that is the end of my presentation.